Hey everybody, Happy New Year. So I'm gonna quickly go over what the pivot point levels are, the extremely important levels. Um, so I think I'm gonna start trying to post this every week. Um, these are extremely important levels that the stock can either bounce at or completely tank under if it goes under. So if it's below and it's a support level, then it can have a major bounce there, or it can really drop if it gets under. And if it's a resistance level, the same idea. It can bounce off of it and continue lower, or if it gets through it, it can rip higher. So I'm gonna use Adobe as an example because it has both a major level on the downside and the upside. So, on the downside, we have 557 as a major support. So, if, Adobe gets to 557, it could bounce off that level, and then retest that 575, maybe even come higher. But also it could tank under that. So if it gets under 557, it can easily tank. And then the 590 level, if it gets up to 590, it could bounce off and, close lower. Or if it gets over 591, it can rip higher. So those are two of the major levels for Adobe: 591, 557. The week prior, I had posted 537 as its major level. And if you go back and look, I had posted that level before this had happened. And this thing bounced right at 538. So it was only $1 off the low, and then it bounced 20 points and continued higher to 570 from almost about 540. So it really went up about 35 points almost in 2 days. So um, that was a huge bounce, and there's a lot of money to make there. But that's what can happen at these major pivot points. Um, so another pivot point we have is Airbnb has a pivot point at 161. So this is something that I like to watch for all the time, and it's a setup that I make the most money on. All of my biggest plays are setups like this, where there's not much support from one support to the next. There's like no supports at all, and when the stock moves in that range, it moves very quickly from one level to the next. So, as you can see, most of the time when Airbnb gets over 151, it quickly goes to 161. Right. Besides this little scenario, this situation here, if you look here, it ripped in a day through those levels. Here it ripped in a day to those levels, and then in 2 days it ripped right back down, then it ripped right back up. So, um, as you can see, it rips very quickly from 160 to 150. The other week I paper handed a 160 put that I got in for like two. I got in over here, or maybe I got in this day. I think I got in this day, and I paper handed it, and 2 days later it was worth $10. So yeah, these are huge setups, and there's a lot of money to make when they happen because there's just no support, and large moves can happen. So now I'm gonna go through the pivot points that I think are the most important this week. So first up we have Amazon. So the 3,300 level is extremely crucial for Amazon. Um, as you can see, Amazon closed below the 50-week moving average, which is extremely bearish. It's only closed below it, it looks like, one time in like over the past year. See, if you look here, it's dipped below it here, and it touched it here, and it really like just glided off of it these weeks, but it's only really closed below it this one time. So that was a very bearish event here that it closed under it. So on Monday and all week I'll be watching for that drop under the 3,300 level. basically under the 200-day moving average, the bears are in control, and we could easily, if we go back up to 3370, we could easily retest that 3300 level. But under 3300 is really bad for Amazon, and it can quickly drop to 3250, 32, and then 3170. And the next real major support for Amazon under the 3300 level is just 32 and 3170. So, under that 3300 level, Amazon can get really ugly, and that's a huge setup I'm watching for this week. Probably my favorite setup this week. Next up, we have gold. So gold is setting up really bullishly on the weekly. As you can see, it's kind of got a some sort of cup and handle here. And it's got an uptrend channel as well. Sort of, right? It's kind of got an uptrend channel too with a resistance around 177. So, whenever gold gets over the 171 level, 170, well, now 172. Is the wrong chart? No, yeah, so I just don't have it all the way across. So yeah, every time that gold gets over the 172 level, it always goes up to 175, right? So if you look here, it gets over 172, immediately goes to 175. Same thing happens here. Same thing happens here. So that's something that I watch for all the time is levels where, when it gets through one, it goes straight to the next, and the next level's, really far off. And that's a really powerful setup that I watch for, and option premiums can really print when those types of moves happen. I'm at 7 minutes now. So I already made this video, and I made it with the mic on mute. So I'm remaking this video. The first time was a great run through, and now I'm redoing it, and it's not as good. But that's all right. So next up, we have Moderna. Under 233, Moderna can get really ugly. It'll be under the trend line support. It'll be under the weekly 50 SMA. It'll be under all the moving averages on the daily, and it'll be under the major support. So 233 is a very, very critical point for Moderna. Next, we have Microsoft. Microsoft needs to break out over 345, and it can see 349.67 very quickly, and then over 351 can continue higher. Currently, it's just oscillating in this box here. MU also has a all-time high breakout possibility. Over 97 can very quickly see 100, maybe even 105 in short time. So that's something I'm watching for as well. NVIDIA, under 288 can really tank down to 280, then 271. I think if we break 288 and we don't find support very quickly, then we're going to quickly drop to 271 and maybe even 253, as 255 is the 21-week moving average, so it is possible we could drop to that. But under 288, we can definitely see 271. Last but not least, we have Shop. Under 1344, can see 1279. That'll be under the 200-day moving average, and it will be under the 50-week moving average. So pretty significant breakdown there. And then under 1279, can see 1210.